Today we are going to discuss about what, children? The next part of the lesson, the impact of British rule on India. So here we are learning about the constitutional development. So today we have our own constitution, no? So Indian constitution, it did not come into existence in a very simple manner. Our what constitutional framers, they worked very hard. They referred the constitution of different countries that you have learnt in your previous year, right? So they have referred the constitution of England, United States of America, alva. So Netherlands, many countries constitutions were studied by our constitutional framers. Then with that, they also referred the laws passed by British government while they were ruling India. So about that we have to study in our today's class. So you have seen that 1765, no, dual government system was introduced by Robert Clive. And one thing I want to make very clear, children, up to 1857, okay, up to 1857, up to the first war of Indian independence, it was English East India Company who ruled India. So the British government did not participate directly. That is the main point. Okay. So the British Parliament, the British government, they did not participate directly in the administration of India. They took, means they anyhow tried to control English East India Company. It is English East India Company who ruled India up to 1857. So during their rule, what happened? Then after them, what other laws were passed by the British Parliament, that we have to study. So now we have to start with the Regulating Act. That day I have made reference about this act, children. The Regulating Act, constitutional development. The first step in the constitutional development of India, it is the Regulating Act. It was passed in the year 1773. So after 1765, what happened? The British East India Company's officers, they took all advantage and they became very rich. And English Parliament, English government, the government of England used to collect tax from English East India Company. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾವುದೇ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವನು ಅರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ಮಿನ ಮೇಲೆ he has to pay tax to the government. ಹೌದಾ? In the same way, English East India Company also had to pay tax to the government. It was earning more income and its officers were also becoming rich, and that is why the British government used to collect more tax from English East India Company. But what happened, as these people, the officers of English East India Company became very rich, other people of England, they felt jealous, first of all. Then second thing is, few people understood that if English East India Company is allowed to continue in the same way, and if the officers of English East India Company, if they are allowed to continue in the same way, they will become super rich, and one day there is every chance that they are going to control the British Parliament. That type of fear, okay, that type of fear got birth in way in England. So at that time, there was a person called Edmund Burke. Okay, his name was, yes, Edmund Burke. He criticized this system, the way in which English East India Company was growing rich, its officers were growing rich. He criticized that, and he called the tax collected by English government from East India Company as the criminal tax. Okay, what did he call? Criminal tax. Why he called it criminal tax? He called it criminal tax because the way in which English East India Company earning income, it was in a criminal way. ಅದು ಸರಿಯಾದ ದಾರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಾಗಿತ್ತು. It was practicing criminal ways. You have seen how different kinds of land tax policies were introduced, how the farmers were exploited there. So that is why that person, Edmund Burke, he called the way the tax collected by British Parliament from English East India Company as the criminal tax. Okay. So then English government, the British Parliament also understood that there is necessity to control the growth of English East India Company. It is very necessary to regulate the activities of English East India Company. That is why this regulating act was passed in the year 1773. Okay. Yes. Tell me, who will tell me, will it be done by Nikhil R. Hegde? Nikhil R. Hegde, are you there? Nikhil?
Yes, Mataji.
What is the name of the act passed in the year 1773? What is the name of that act?
Regulating Act.
Exactly. It was Regulating Act. It was passed in the year 1773. Okay, thank you. So now let us know something about the terms of this Regulating Act. I will not go in very detail, but I would like to tell you three things which are very important. First one is this Regulating Act. After the passing of Regulating Act, the Bengal presidency, the Bengal province got power over other two presidencies. Okay. Up to 1773, British had got control over three regions. One is your Bengal region. 1764 alle Bengal region ಮೇಲೆ control ಬಂದೋಗಿತ್ತು. Second, after your Carnatic war, ಹೌದಾ? ಇದಿಸ್ ಮದ್ರಾಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಂಬೆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರವನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಯುಪೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಟಿಲ್ 1818 ಮರಾಠಾಸ್ they were little bit strong, right? That is why only that Bombay region they were what powerful. So these three regions, Bombay, Madras and Kolkata, they were independent. So there was head for every presidency, every region there, and that person used to look after that presidency. But after the passing of this Regulating Act, the governor of Bengal came to be known as the Governor General, and he got control over the governors of Madras and the governor of Bombay. So before taking any decision, the governors of Bombay and Madras had to take the permission of the Governor General. Okay. So the governor of Bengal came to be known as the Governor General. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಮೂರು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದವು ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಆದವು, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಪವರ್ ಅನ್ನ. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. Then I have told you about Warren Hastings, no, that day. So he was the first Governor General of India. Warren Hastings was the first Governor General, and Lord Mountbatten is the last Governor General. Alva? So here, this is the first thing. Then second important thing is Supreme Court of India was established by this Act, 1773. By this act, the first step towards establishing Supreme Court of India was started. So these are two important things which you have to remember about the Regulating Act. First one is the three independent presidencies, Bombay, Madras, and next one is Bengal. They were centralized. The governor of Bengal got control over the other two presidencies, which are the Madras and Bombay, and he came to be known as Governor General. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ Bengal presidency got more power. ಒಂದು. ಎರಡನೇದು, Lord Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India. Second thing. Then third thing is Supreme Court was established by this act, Regulating Act. It was established in Kolkata. Then later 1862 another act was passed, and in the year 1935 another act was passed, and finally 1950 ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಏನ್ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ that came into existence. Okay, but the first step started here, the regulating act 1773. Okay, then next important act is the Pitt's India Act 1784. The Pitt's India Act. Okay, so the person who gave suggestions to to pass this Pitt's India Act, his name was Lord Pitt. Okay, what was his name? Lord Pitt ಅಂತ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅವನ ಹೆಸರು. ಅವನು ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಶಾಸನ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಅವನು ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೆದ್ರು? ದ ಪಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಆಕ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, the act passed by, the act suggested by Lord Pitt. Okay, that is why it came to be popular as the Pitt's India Act 1784. Why was this act passed? So there were some loopholes in this regulating act. So only with the terms of this regulating act, British government could not control the activities of East India Company, and that is why it inserted some more rules and regulations through this Pitt's India Act, and it was passed in the year 1784. And through this act, the government of England declared that whatever power, whatever areas East India Company has acquired in India, all those things, it has been done in the name of the British Empire, and that is why whatever areas English East India Company has acquired in India, they all belong to the British Parliament. Okay, so that was declared by the Pitt's India Act, which was passed in the year 1784. Okay, any doubts here, children? If you have any doubts, raise your hand. Shriharsha? Shriharsh?
Yes, Mataji.
Why was Pitt's India Act passed?
British government couldn't control the East India Company through regulating act, hence it passed the Pitt's India Act.
Exactly, very nice. Okay, Soumya Bhatt.
Yes, Mataji.
Do you know the meaning of act, Marie? What is this act? ACT Act. See here, I have written it with capital letter A. I have made A capital.
I don't know.
You did not know what is, did not understand what is act, Marie?
No, Mataji.
That's okay. Then Soumya Hegde.
Mataji, I think it is rules and regulations passed by a particular government.
Exactly. Very good. Okay. So act means what? A set of rules and regulations. A set of rules and regulations passed by the government is called act. It is also called legislation. A set of rules and regulations passed by the legislature. It is called what? Legislation. Now tell me, did all understand the meaning of act? Raise your hands and tell me. Legislation and act, they are one and the same. How many of you understood? Raise your hands and tell me. Okay, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Pratham Bhatt.
Yes, Mataji.
Did you understand the meaning of act?
Yes, Mataji.
What is act?
A set of rules and regulations implemented by a particular
Yes, by a particular government. Ruling body. Exactly, you are right. Okay. So, the Regulating Act 1773, the Pitt's India Act 1784. Nice. Thank you, Pratham. Okay. Next. After that, I want answer from Darshan Hegde. Are you there? Darshan? Tejasvi?
Good morning, Mataji.
Very good morning. Tejasvi, who was the first Governor General of India?
Warren Hastings.
Very nice. Did you understand what is an act? What does an act mean?
Act is a set of rules and regulations passed by a particular government.
Nice, very nice. Okay, you have understood. Okay, yes. So far we have discussed about two important acts, the Regulating Act and one more is the Fits India Act. Now let us understand next type of act, that is the Charter Acts. Okay, so they are popular as the Charter Acts. So charter was license. What is the meaning of charter, children? License. So once in 15 years, the East India Company had to get its license renewed. Okay, it has to get its license renewed. So that is why whenever it applied for renewal of license, no, the British Parliament, it inserted some more rules and regulations. It implemented to take the British East India Company under its control. No, the British Parliament, it brought or it introduced some new kinds of rules and regulations. Okay, so that is why these acts came to be known as the Charter Acts. Okay, so Charter Act andre ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಅಂದ್ರೆ once in 15 years in the beginning, later once in 20 years. After the completion of 20 years, East India Company, what it had to do? It had to get its license renewed. So when it applied for renewal of license, no, British Parliament, what did it do? It implemented some more rules and regulations on East India Company. ನೀನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮತ್ತೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವರು ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ at any cost it wanted to control the activities of this English East India Company. Okay, so Charter Acts. 4 Charter Acts were passed in the year 1793, then in the year 1813, then in the year 1833, and in the year 1854. So among them, 1813, the Charter Act of 1813 and the Charter Act of 1833 are important. So here we will concentrate on this act, 1813's Charter Act. So two important things you have to remember here. So far, up to 1813, British government did not allow any other English company to come to India. It had given license to one and only institution, one and only private company, that was English East India Company. Okay, so English East India Company ಹೊರತಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ up to 1813. But what happened after after this Charter Act, English Parliament allowed other individuals also to come to India and to carry on their trade. So there were demands in India. Many individuals and many companies were requesting the English Parliament to allow them to come to India and to trade here. But English Parliament had not given permission for that. After this Charter Act, in the year 1813, it allowed the other people, other individuals and other companies to come to India and to practice trade. This is one change. Then second thing is, Christian missionaries were there, no? They were allowed officially to enter India. Okay, so far Christian missionaries did not have official entry to India. ಅವರು ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರು ಏನೋ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. But after 1813, they got the permission of their government itself to come to India. So the English government instructed the Christian missionaries to educate the Indians, to teach the Indians. Okay, then it told that it is the white man's burden ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತು. ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ ಹಂಗೆ, ನಮಗೇನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ನಡತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಮ್ಯಾನರ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲಿಸುವಂತಹ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ತನ್ನದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿತ್ತು. ವೈಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಡನ್, ಅವ್ರು ವೈಟ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ನಾಗರಿಕರನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ತಮ್ಮ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ, ತನಗೋದು ಹೊರೆ, ವೈಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಡನ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ ಮಿಷನರೀಸ್ ಟು ಟೀಚ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಟು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 1813 Christian missionaries got what permission to come to India officially, and they started their educational institutions here. It helped the Christian missionaries to spread Christianity in India. Okay, so this is about the Charter Act of 1813. Any doubts here, children? Charter Act of 1813. Okay, so Charter Act, we will not concentrate on others. I'll concentrate only on this one, the Charter Act of 1813. Two important things. One is the other individuals and other private companies from England were allowed to come to India to have trade here. Then second thing is Christian missionaries were officially allowed to enter India. These two things you have to remember about the Charter Act of 1813 and why were the Charter Acts passed. That is very important. Charter Acts were passed at the time of renewing the license of English East India Company. See, you can find the gap. 1793 plus 20 years 1813 plus 20 years 1833 plus 20 years 1853. So after the completion of every 20 years, the British East India Company had to get its license renewed. Okay, yes. After this, next one is the Government of India Act 1858. So in the year 1857, the first war of Indian independence took place. British called it Sipahi Mutiny. For the first time in such a large scale, the Indians had opposed the British. Okay. Then after 1857, the British Parliament understood that if we do not take any severe step, okay, one or the other day we are going to lose our control over India ಹೇಳುವಂತದ್ದು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಮನವರಿಕೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೊ ಅಪ್ ಟು 1857 British East India Company had established its power over most of the regions of India. ಹೌದಾ, ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ರೀಜನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ತನ್ನ ಪವರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಆಕ್ಯುಪೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 60% ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಾಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದೇಯರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಹೌದಾ, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ continued to allow English East India Company to look after the administration, British Parliament felt that they are going to lose their control over India. ಹೆಂಗಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾವನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ರಿಚ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ, ದೇ ಕುಡ್ ಗೇನ್ ಮೆನಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ they passed an act called the Government of India Act 1858. In the year 1857, Indians had fought against the English East India Company's administration in a very large scale. ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಝಾನ್ಸಿ ರಾಣಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಬಾಯಿ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಾನಾ ಸಾಹಿಬ್, then your ತಾಂತಿಯಾ ಟೋಪಿ, ಹಜರತ್ ಮಹಲ್, then Mangal Pandey, you remember, no children? So all these people, they fought against the British East India Company in a large scale. That is why English government passed this act in the year 1858, and it brought few changes. First of all, the license it had given to English East India Company, it was cancelled by the British Parliament. Nodri, British Parliament ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡು, and India came under the direct control of British Parliament. So when this act was passed in the year 1858, at that time Victoria was the Queen of England. Okay, let me repeat. Queen Victoria was ruling England at that time. She was the head of England. So by the Act, the Government of India Act 1858, India came under the direct control of British Parliament. The license of English East India Company was cancelled, and thus what happened? English East India Company's rule in India came to an end. Okay, this is the major change which was brought in the year 1858. With that, another new post was created and it was called Secretary of State for India. Okay, what was the name of new post? Secretary of State for India was the new post. Understood? Siri? 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 Rashmi?
Yes, Mataji.
What is the major change brought by the Government of India Act 1858, sorry.
The license of East India Company was cancelled,
Then,
and then a new post called Secretary of State for India was created.
exactly, okay. So, that is about your 1858 Act, and India came under the direct control of British Parliament. Okay, thank you. Then, next, Animesh, are you there?
Yes, Mataji.
Animesh, what was the change, major change brought by the Government of India Act 1858?
New post Secretary of State of India formed.
Loudly,
New post Secretary of State India formed.
new post called Secretary of State for India was appointed. No, then what is the major change? What is the major change? Animesh, Anjali, Anjali, Akshay V. Hegde, Arun, Arun,
Yes, Mataji.
tell me what is the major change brought by the Government of India Act 1858?
The license given to East India Company was cancelled.
And what is the result of that?
And India and India come to direct administration of British.
Yes, correct. Okay, India came under the direct control of British Parliament. That is correct. Okay, Aniket, thank you. Aniket, who was the Queen of England in the year 1858? What was her name? Aniket, you can send me a message if your microphone is not working.
Queen Victoria.
Yes, she was Queen Victoria. Correct. Okay. Then next. Next. Brahati. Brahati. Namaste.
But
What do you mean by a charter? What do you mean by a charter? What is charter? Okay, Brihati. Anvit Ji Naik. Anvit Ji Naik. Anvit, can you speak? Anvit. Anvit. Okay, Anvit cannot speak. Preeti.
Mataji.
What do you mean by charter?
Charter is the license of East India Company which renewed once in 20 years.
Which had to be renewed once in 20 years by the British government. Very good. Okay. Then let us go for the next important act, that is the Indian Councils Act 1861. See, Indian Government Acts. All these acts were called the Government of India Act or the British Governments Act or Indian Councils Act. Already we have completed our discussion about 1851. No? Let us know something about Indian Councils Act 1861 now. Okay. After 3 years of Government of India Act 1858. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಏನ್ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಬಂತಂದ್ರೆ so far Indians did not get any opportunity to participate in law making process. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ, ನಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲಾಗಿತ್ತು. ದ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ discussed and decided rules and regulations about India, no? We didn't know anything at all. Not even a single Indian representative was there. That was the main problem. So India davu galate haki enaitappa andre in the year 1861 for the first time, see here, for the first time Indians got an opportunity to participate in the law making process. They were added to the Governor General's Executive Committee as non-official members. See here, non-official members, and they were nominated, not elected. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರು ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದಂತಹ ಮಾತನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಜನರನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಬ್ರನ್ನ ಇಬ್ರನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು, ಅನ್ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಜನರಲ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟಿವ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಅವರೇ, ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಅವರೇ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಬ್ಬನೋ ಇಬ್ಬನೋ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅವ್ರೇನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಗಾಟ್ an opportunity to participate in the law making procedure as unofficial members, and they were nominated, they were not elected. Okay, so in the beginning there were many Indians who had belief in English administration. ನಮ್ಮ ದಾದಾಬಾಯಿ ನವರೋಜಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಫಿರೋಜ್ ಶಾ ಮೆಹ್ತಾ, ಸುರೇಂದ್ರನಾಥ್ ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ಜಿ, ದೇ ವೇರ್ ಆಲ್ ಮಾಡರೇಟ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ನಮ್ಮ MG ರಾನಡೆ, ಮಹಾದೇವ್ ಗೋವಿಂದ ರಾನಡೆ, ಇವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಏನೋ ಚಲೋ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಏನೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಂತಹ ಜನ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಜನರನ್ನ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ added them to the law making procedure as unofficial members. Okay, so this is how the Indian Councils Act 1861 provided for the first time an opportunity for the Indians to participate in law making process. Then afterwards, 1892, another act is there. So with the help of Indian Councils Act 1892, children, the number of members, the number of Indian members in law making procedure, it was increased. Okay, that is why this 1892 act is quite important. Andre number anna ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. Again they were nominated only. ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲೋ 2-3 ಜನ ಇದ್ದವರನ್ನ 16 ತನಕ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅವರ ನಂಬರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ they were nominated, not elected. ನಮಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕೋ ಅವರನ್ನ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರಿಗೆ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕೋ ಅವರನ್ನ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು, ನಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ 1861 and 1892. Let us learn about others in the next meeting. Now